Miss Laurel Leigh.
Look out, she's gonna go off script.
Thanks, Norman Mary. It's always an honor to have a story in Clover. My story in this issue is called Two Houses Down. It's about when her two girlfriends had come to visit. One of them was learning to play the guitar and wanted to meet the musician neighbor. By chance, he'd been standing in his driveway as they'd driven up, and she wheeled the car alongside him, made temporarily bold by her girlfriend's being with her. He accepted her offer of a home-cooked meal in exchange for a few songs, and that same evening he'd come, limping up her front stairs, carrying an extra guitar for her girlfriend to borrow. Up until the middle of the little dinner party, as her friends laughed and chatted, in the way people do with strangers they'll soon forget, she hadn't known how much she liked him. He was, after all, just her neighbor. Had seen her in her old green bathrobe pushing her trash can out to the curb. She hadn't expected to see him again after that evening, except in the usual neighborly way, at the curb with the trash cans, where they might wave or say hello. But he talked to her the next day and said he had a nice time and that they should have another dinner. That second dinner hadn't happened yet, but this had. Her, sitting by herself in the back room of a cowboy bar, watching him sing. She sipped the bitter blonde ale she'd ordered to be polite, wondered what number of women she was in his parade. His music spanned 4 decades, a half-dozen bands, some old, some obscure, included a grown son she'd only heard about, and one ex-wife, an Australian woman, not the mother of his son, and whom she had met on more than one occasion. She liked the Australian woman, wondered why they weren't friends who went for coffee. One day it occurred to her she'd seen the Australian woman less than usual, and then not at all. And on the day she'd gone into his driveway with her girlfriends, it became apparent, though not spoken of directly, that the Aussie wife had departed. Without seeming to take a breath, he held a note, pretended to check his wristwatch while he extended the sound, showing off a little for her. When he looked straight at her, she hoped her face didn't reveal how hopeful she felt. His rail-thin legs didn't fill out his faded blue Levi's. Handsome as he was above the neck, it was his legs and those Levi's that gave her startling thoughts. She made up things to do to avoid looking at him for too long. She checked her text messages. There were none. Dabbed with a napkin at the condensation on her half-empty beer glass. She read the signs on the pine walls. Try our none better hamburgers. May we suggest our hunky-dory fish and chips with fresh buttered cod? He sang the signature song from his most famous ex-band. A 60-ish couple got up and jitterbugged enthusiastically. It hurt to watch the pair stomp around in their matching white tennis shoes. So clumsy, but obviously so happy together. Yet it seemed rude to leave in the middle of a song, so she waited for the next powder bit and then rose to find the ladies' room. She had to turn sideways and squeeze between the edge of her table and the empty seat back of the one alongside. In the outfit she was wearing, sideways was the least flattering view, and she held her stomach in and gave the chair a quick shove to move it a few inches without anyone, him, noticing. Once her body had been perfect, aside from a jagged scar on her ankle from a fall off of an improperly anchored aerial swing cut into the shape of a quarter moon. When one end of the swing broke loose, her left ankle had caught on the pointy edge of the tin sheeting painted to represent the Big Dipper. The fact that she now limped slightly had nothing to do with the fall from the swing. Some weeks later, her partner and lover had miscalculated and dropped her from a one-handed lift. She hadn't seen him in years, but had read in the news that he'd recently accepted the role of artistic director for a promising European troupe. Back at her seat, she drank more bitter ale, while he sang a mix of older popular hits and original songs. The small audience looked vaguely confused during his compositions, as if waiting for a recognizable refrain that never came. In her mind, a vision of what he once must have been merged with what he was now, both of him desirable. He retained the musculature of his youth. His hair still grew long, and that voice, deep and raspy. He smiled right at her. She rarely blushed nowadays after years of keeping herself in check, but she instantly looked downward, put her focus on the action of his forearm strumming. The muscles in his arm were long and taut, and she thought what those arms would feel like were rubbing her, and then she did blush. To lose the hotness in her cheeks, she set her mind to work figuring out precisely why she liked him. When she taught literature, she could talk in vivid detail about why an idea was beautiful, why one story was tragic, yet another lacked dramatic tension, why one character was engaging, another scarcely worth a line on the page. But outside of her classroom, which wasn't all that different from the theater she once inhabited, she felt that she really didn't understand people, including herself. And if she was honest, she was afraid of most of them. When the show ended, she didn't know whether to stick around or leave. She had no idea what he wanted with her, if he wanted her. She could not know that within 3 days he'd cook an entire dinner and bring it to her house, or that a week later they would again have dinner. This time she would cook for him tilapia poached in leek sauce, and sitting across from her at the table he would toast her cooking and say she had pretty blue eyes. Or that he would one evening tell her he had chronically high blood pressure, and according to his doctor, not long to live. Or how she would stupidly burst into tears at the anticipated loss of him so freshly met, and as well at the idea of never hearing him sing again. She could not know that it would not be untimely death that would take him from her before they'd had 6 dinners together, but his attraction for another woman, younger, who possibly reminded him of the Aussie ex-wife. And after making love to her exactly one time, during which she tried not to cry but did, because it had been so long, and for other reasons about which she could not be specific when he kindly asked, he would seem aloof, avoid her. And after a brief and painful, for her at least, period of awkwardness, they would retract into the neutral good mornings of earlier days, the ones they'd exchanged for so long as near strangers living 2 houses down. Thank you.